Hey everyone, in today's video, I've got an amazing and eye-opening story to share with you. We're going to meet Sienna Renner, an artist who faced some tough challenges in life and had a near-death experience during a time of crisis. What she saw on the other side is bound to shake up everything you thought you knew about life, death, and even Mary, the mother of Jesus. The most surprising part? What she found out about Mary will leave you speechless. So before we dive in, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of this kind of content, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Now, get ready for a wild journey filled with unexpected insights. My name is Sienna Renner. I'm 35 years old, and I'm an artist from Burlington, Vermont. My life has always been a mix of creativity and ups and downs. Since I was young, art was my way to escape. It helped me express the complicated feelings I often couldn't put into words. Burlington, with its creative vibe, seemed like the perfect fit for me. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs. A few years back, I went through a rough divorce that turned my world upside down. Suddenly, I was on my own, responsible for raising two amazing kids while dealing with a mountain of financial and emotional stress. Every day felt like a struggle, not just with bills piling up, but also with my own worries, the doubts and fears that seemed to multiply with each sleepless night. As if that wasn't enough, my health took a hit too. I got diagnosed with an autoimmune condition that drained my energy. Days turned into an endless cycle of fatigue, pain, and frustration. It felt like I was trying to swim against a relentless current, always tired and just fighting to stay afloat. Art, which used to be my escape, started to feel like another burden. How could I create when even picking up a brush felt like a huge challenge? How could I show beauty when all I felt was hurt? My paintings, once colorful and alive, began to mirror the darkness I felt inside. Despite everything, I did my best to stay strong for my kids. They were my light, my reason to keep pushing forward. But in the stillness of the night when they were asleep, I let myself fall apart. I cried softly, wondering if things would ever change, or if I'd find the strength to get through it all. It was during this ongoing fight that something unexpected happened. One night that changed everything for me, my views on life, death, and everything in between. It was an experience that made me rethink what I knew about reality and my place in it. This is the story of my journey beyond life, a near-death moment that reshaped who I am and how I see the world. It all kicked off on what felt like just another night. I had tucked the kids in and was about to crash myself, completely worn out, when I felt that familiar tightness in my chest. Asthma. It wasn't a new thing for me, but this time it felt different. The struggle to breathe was more intense, more terrifying. I reached for my inhaler, like I always did, but it didn't help. Panic started creeping in as I fought for each breath. Every inhale felt like a battle, and I was losing ground. With shaky hands, I managed to call 911. Those next few minutes stretched on forever. By the time the ambulance showed up, I was teetering on the edge of despair. The oxygen they gave me helped for a moment, but it didn't last long. At the hospital, doctors and nurses rushed around me, their voices filled with concern, their faces tight with worry. They were trying everything, but nothing seemed to work. The heaviness in my chest kept getting worse. It felt like fire, and my vision started to blur at the edges. Fear gripped me completely. Was this really it? Was I really going to die? Leaving my kids behind, so many dreams left unfulfilled, so much I hadn't said yet. In the middle of all that chaos and fear, a thought popped into my head. My grandmother Miriam. She had been gone for years, but she was always my safe haven. How often had I wished I could talk to her one more time, feel her warm embrace, hear her comforting words. Struggling to breathe and unable to even form a proper prayer, I silently begged, "Grandma, please help me. I'm not ready to go. My kids need me. Please don't let me go like this." Then, something unexplainable happened. In the turmoil of the hospital room, amidst the beeping machines and anxious voices, I felt a subtle change in the air. A wave of calm washed over me, like someone had wrapped a warm blanket around my shoulders. And then I saw her. Not through my eyes, but in a way I can't really explain. My grandmother Miriam was there, beaming at me with that familiar, warm smile. She didn't say a word, but I could feel her comforting presence wrapping around me. In that moment, a sense of calm washed over me. The terror of death, which had gripped me just moments ago, started to fade away. I was still having trouble breathing and felt my body fighting, but a deep peace settled in my heart. This was the start of a journey I never could have dreamed of, an experience that would test everything I thought I understood about life, death, and what comes after. A journey that would take me to the farthest corners of existence and back, forever changing who I was. With my grandmother's comforting presence beside me, I felt wrapped in a soft white mist. The hospital room, with its noises and harsh lights, began to disappear. It was like a curtain was being drawn back, showing me a truth that had always been there, but that we usually can't see. The suffocating feeling that had tormented me just moments before vanished completely. For the first time in ages, I felt genuinely at peace. There was no pain, no fear, just a lightness and freedom I had never known before. I looked over at my grandmother, and she smiled again, her eyes filled with a love that seemed to go beyond everything I understood. She reached out her hand, and when I took it, a wave of understanding washed over me. We didn't need to talk. I could sense her thoughts and feelings as if they were my own. "Don't worry, dear," her voice rang in my mind. "You're safe now. There's so much for you to see and learn." As we drifted through that white mist, I started to realize we were moving. Not with our physical selves, but with something lighter, more subtle. It felt as if we were pure consciousness, gliding through dimensions I never knew existed. The colors around us began to shift, becoming more vivid and alive than anything I had ever seen in Burlington. Deep blues mixed with radiant golds, creating intricate patterns that seemed to hold entire universes within them. I could feel an energy buzzing all around me, as if the very air was alive. Every bit of this reality felt like it was singing a silent melody, a cosmic symphony of unimaginable beauty. As we moved on, I began to notice other presences nearby. They weren't solid forms as worldling. We're not talking about physical forms, but more like bursts of light and energy. Some of these I recognized immediately. They were the spirits of people I had lost. Others were strangers, but I felt a strong bond with them, as if we were all part of one big family. Time felt like it had stopped in that space. I had no clue if it had been seconds or ages since we left the hospital. All I could tell was that every moment was packed with meaning and insights that went beyond what I could understand. My grandmother gently led me, letting me take in each new thing at my own speed. She seemed to know just what I needed, when I needed a moment to soak it in and when it was time to move on. That's when it hit me. This wasn't the end. It wasn't the death I had always thought about. It was more like waking up, an opening of awareness that was beyond anything I had felt before. And something inside told me this journey was just starting. As I floated in this incredible mix of light and colors, with my grandmother by my side, something began to shift. A light, more brilliant and pure than anything I had ever seen, started to come together in front of us. It was like love itself was forming, shining with an energy that resonated with my whole being. From this light, a figure appeared, and I recognized her right away, even though she looked nothing like the images I'd seen before. It was Mary, the mother of Jesus, but she wasn't the way she showed up in paintings or statues. She was pure energy, pure love, such a powerful yet gentle presence that I felt wrapped up in her kindness. Her eyes, if I could even call them that, felt like gateways to the universe. In them, I could see galaxies spinning and lives changing. Her smile was like a warm embrace from the cosmos, making me feel welcomed and loved in a way I had never known. When she spoke, it wasn't with words, but rather a flow of thoughts and emotions that reached deep into my soul. "Welcome, beloved daughter," her voice filled my being. "You have reached a pivotal moment in your journey. There's a lot for you to learn and go through." I felt completely overwhelmed by her presence, and by all the love and wisdom radiating from her. Tears of pure joy and gratitude streamed down, even though I no longer had a physical body to cry with. "But why me?" I asked, my voice shaking with emotion. "I'm just an ordinary mom trying to get by, a failed artist." Mary smiled, and in that smile, I felt the warmth of all the moms in the world. "Sweetheart," she said, "everyone is special in their own way. Each person is a unique and valuable part of the universe. your struggles, your sorrows, your happiness, all of it makes you who you are, and it's all loved without conditions. Her words reached deep into my heart, healing scars I didn't even know I had. Years of self-doubt and feeling not good enough started to fade in the glow of her unconditional love. "You're here," Mary continued, "because it's time for you to realize your true self, to understand that you're so much more than your body or your situation. You are a co-creator of the universe, a special part of the universal mind." As she spoke, it felt like layers were being pulled away from my awareness. I began seeing connections I had missed before, understanding truths that had always been there, but I had been blind to them. "Remember always, Sienna," Mary said, wrapping me in a warm embrace of light. "You are never alone. Divine love is always with you, inside you. You are loved endlessly, just as you are." With her words, I felt a deep change happening within me. It was like every part of me was being filled with light, tuned to a higher level of existence. I was being readied for something bigger, something that would shift my whole view of reality. As I was still soaking in Mary's loving energy, a new presence started to emerge. It was a powerful, majestic energy that felt strong and protective. Next to me, a figure appeared, and I recognized him right away as Archangel Michael. Describing him in regular terms was tough. He felt like a living flame, a mix of energies creating a presence that seemed almost real. His wings shimmered like bright light, stretching into eternity. His eyes were like two stars, deep and ancient, holding the wisdom of ages. When he spoke, his voice didn't just echo in my mind, it vibrated through my entire being, as if every part of me was resonating with his words. "Sienna," he started, his voice a mix of strength and kindness. Thunder and heavenly music filled the air as he said, "You've been brought here at a key point in your journey. There's a bigger purpose for your life, a calling you're about to uncover." I felt tiny in his presence, yet I was also incredibly honored and safe. It felt like everything he said held the weight of universal truth. "Your life so far," Michael continued, "with all its struggles and challenges, has been a preparation. Every tough moment, every bit of pain and uncertainty has built in you the strength and compassion needed to fulfill your purpose." As he talked, memories of my life played out in front of me. I thought about my divorce, my fight with illness, and the times I felt hopeless. But now, looking at those experiences in this new light, they didn't seem meaningless anymore. They were treasured lessons, each one getting me ready for something greater. "But what is this purpose?" I asked, my internal voice shaking with excitement and nerves. Michael smiled, a smile that brightened everything around us. "Your purpose, Sienna, is to be a guiding light for others, to use your journey, your art, and the understanding you've gained to help those who are feeling lost in the dark. You'll realize that the world you know is just a small part of what's really out there, and your mission is to help others widen their awareness and reconnect with their true divine nature." As he spoke, I felt a surge of understanding wash over me. It was like pieces of a cosmic puzzle were finally clicking into place. All the hurdles I had faced, all the pain I had gone through, suddenly held new significance. "But how?" I asked, feeling both thrilled and anxious about the weight of this revelation. "How can I carry out such an important mission?" "Through your art, Sienna," Michael replied, his voice filled with belief and encouragement. "Your creativity is a divine gift, a way to express the truths of the universe in forms that others can grasp and feel. Every brushstroke, every color you choose, has the power to awaken souls and touch hearts in ways that words cannot." He paused to let his words sink in, then continued, "But remember, you won't be doing this alone. We'll always be by your side, guiding, inspiring, and protecting you. You're part of something way bigger than you realize, Sienna. It's time to embrace who you really are and your true strength." In that moment, it felt like a fog had lifted from my mind. I didn't see myself as a broken person, just trying to get by anymore. I felt like a powerful being with the ability to create and change things around me. It was a huge responsibility, but it felt incredibly freeing. Michael reached out his hand, or what looked like a hand made of pure light. "Come," he said. "There's so much more for you to see and understand. Are you ready for a journey that will change everything you thought you knew about reality?" With a mix of wonder and excitement, I nodded, ready to take the next step in this amazing journey beyond life. As I took Archangel Michael's hand, I felt a powerful energy wrap around me. It was like every bit of me was being lifted into a whole new level of existence. We started moving through a tunnel of light, the colors shifting constantly from orange to gold, forming mesmerizing patterns that seemed to hold entire universes. "What you're about to experience, Sienna," Michael said, his voice echoing through the light, "is an expansion of consciousness. You'll see beyond the limits of the physical world and understand what reality really is." As we journeyed, my perception began to change profoundly. It felt like my senses were stretching out, letting me see things I couldn't have grasped before. I caught glimpses of other dimensions coming into view. I saw worlds layered over our own, parallel realities where different versions of myself made different choices. In a flash of understanding, I realized that the universe was so much bigger and more complex than I had ever thought. "Look, Sienna," Michael said, pointing to a beautiful cosmic web. "This is the fabric of life. Each thread represents a soul, and every intersection is a moment of choice or connection. Everything is linked. Everything is part of a bigger whole." I watched in amazement as my own lifeline intertwined with countless others, forming patterns of unimaginable beauty. I could see how my actions, even the little ones that seemed insignificant, had effects that spread far beyond anything I could have ever imagined. "But if everything is connected," I asked, "why do we often feel so alone and separate in the physical world?" Michael smiled, like he totally got it. "That's the trick of feeling separated, Sienna. On this physical plane, you're meant to experience individuality as a part of your growth. But really, you're never truly alone. Every thought and every action ripples through this cosmic web, impacting everything." We kept moving along, and Michael started to show me moments from my own life. I saw myself as a kid, bursting with joy and creativity. I looked at the tough times I'd been through, but this time from a fresh angle. "Take a close look," Michael said. "See how every experience, every struggle has shaped who you are." And I got it. I could see how my divorce, as hard as it was, had taught me about strength and resilience. I noticed how battling my illness had helped me build compassion for others. Every tough moment, every hurdle I cleared, contributed to my personal growth. "Do you see now," Michael said gently, "that there aren't really good or bad experiences? There are just experiences, and it's up to you how you want to respond to them. Your limits were things you placed on yourself, Sienna, born from misunderstandings and unhealed wounds." A wave of clarity washed over me. All those times I felt like I wasn't enough, all those moments of self-doubt, all those thoughts of giving up, those were all based on a narrow view of who I really am. "You're so much more than just your body, so much more than your thoughts or feelings," Michael went on. "You're a unique expression of divine energy, filled with limitless potential to create and change." As I absorbed all this, I felt something within me growing. It was like layers of limitations were coming off, revealing a core of pure light and infinite power. "This is your true self, Sienna," Michael said with warmth and respect. "This is the divine being you've always been and always will be. It's time to accept this truth and live from it." In that moment, I felt totally transformed. I wasn't just Sienna, the artist trying to make it. I was a co-creator of the universe, a unique and cherished part of the divine. And along with this understanding came a surge of fulfillment, purpose and power I had never felt before. "Are you ready for the next step of your journey?" Michael asked, his eyes sparkling like they were holding entire worlds. With a heart full of thanks and a mind opened wide, I nodded, eager to dive deeper into the mysteries of the universe and my own spirit. Guided by Archangel Michael, I sensed myself being lifted to an even higher level of awareness. The light around us grew brighter, wrapping everything in a warm embrace of pure energy. It felt like we were getting closer to the very heart of the universe. "What you're about to experience, Sienna," Michael said, his voice vibrating through me, "is a connection with the source. Here, you'll see the true essence of God and your own divinity." Before I could fully take in his words, I felt myself gently pushed forward, like I was diving into a sea of light. The moment I touched this light, something incredible happened. It felt like every part of me was expanding, stretching to hold the entire cosmos. I was everything, and everything was part of me. I could sense the dance of galaxies, the birth and death of stars, the flow of life on every planet. At the same time, I was aware of the tiniest particles, the fundamental dance of creation happening at its core. And through it all, connecting everything in a stunning cosmic melody, was love. Not the everyday love we know, but a love so vast, so unconditional, so whole, that it made my heart feel like it might burst with joy. In this complete union, I finally got what God really is. It wasn't some separate being, a distant figure sitting on a heavenly throne. God was all of this, the totality of existence, the awareness that flows through and gives life to everything. And I, like every other being in the universe, was a unique part of this divine awareness. Tears of joy and gratitude came freely as I soaked up this essential truth. My whole life, I had been looking for something outside myself, some external force to rescue me, guide me, love me. And now I realized that what I'd been searching for had always been within me, an intrinsic part of who I am. In this state of union, all doubts, all the fears and limits I'd ever felt just faded away. I saw myself for who I really am, a being of endless light, full of the potential to create and change things. I also realized that this feeling of oneness wasn't just for mystical experiences or moments after we die. It's our natural state, our true self. The separation we sense in this physical world is just an illusion, part of the cosmic game of hide and seek we play with ourselves. As I floated in this sea of divine consciousness, I received insights that went way beyond any words. I understood how every thought, every feeling, and every action on this physical level sends out ripples in this shared field of awareness, impacting everything in existence. I came to see the real power of co-creation. We aren't just passive witnesses in a set universe. We're active creators, constantly molding our reality through our choices, beliefs, and perspectives. Gradually, I felt myself gently being guided back to a more individual state of consciousness. The feeling of complete unity faded, but didn't vanish entirely. It was like a part of me still connected to that endless source of love and wisdom. Once I could gather my thoughts again, I looked at Archangel Michael, who had stayed with me the whole time. I stumbled over my words, struggling to describe what I had just gone through. Michael smiled, his eyes sparkling with understanding and love. That, Sienna, is who you truly are. It's who we all are, divine, infinite, and always linked to the source of all creation. I took a moment of silence, letting this truth sink into every part of me. Finally, with a heart filled with gratitude and a mind widened by understanding, I felt ready for whatever lay ahead in my journey. After that mind-blowing experience of oneness with the Source, I sensed a gentle shift in the energy around me. Archangel Michael, still at my side, spoke in a voice rich with understanding and compassion. Sienna, it's time for you to head back to the physical plane. A wave of mixed feelings rolled over me. On one hand, I was hesitant to leave this place full of pure light and unconditional love. On the other hand, I felt a deep understanding that I had a purpose to fulfill, a mission to complete here on Earth. Just remember, Michael went on, what you felt here isn't separate from your life. It's your true self, always there, always within reach. Now your job is to live with that in mind, bringing a piece of heaven to earth through your actions, thoughts, and creativity. I nodded, feeling a mix of determination and humility. As I got ready to head back, I saw the web of life again, the strands connecting all souls. I could clearly see how my own lifeline intertwined with so many others, creating a pattern of incredible beauty. Every life you touch, every heart you uplift, sends ripples through the universe, Michael said, as if he could sense my thoughts. Don't ever underestimate the impact of a simple act of kindness, a few encouraging words, or a genuine show of love. With these words ringing in my heart, I felt a gentle pull guiding me back. The bright light started to fade, and I felt like I was moving through layers of awareness. Gradually, I started to feel my physical body again. At first, it felt weird and a bit uncomfortable, like wearing clothes that were way too tight after being free. The pain in my chest, which had faded away during my spiritual journey, came back, though it was much milder. Slowly, I opened my eyes. The harsh hospital lights that once seemed blinding now felt soft and almost dreamlike. I could make out the doctors and nurses around me, their faces shifting from worry to relief. "She's back," someone called out. their voice sounding a bit far away. As my mind adjusted to the physical world, a wave of emotions washed over me. Tears started pouring down my cheeks, but they weren't tears of sadness or fear. They were tears of deep gratitude, of indescribable joy for experiencing something so far beyond what we usually understand. The doctors, mistaking my tears, tried to comfort me. "It's okay now, Mrs. Renner. You're safe." I wanted to explain that my tears weren't from fear or relief. They came from having touched something divine, from experiencing a love so immense and unconditional that it completely changed how I see reality. But the words were stuck. How could I possibly describe such a profound and life-changing moment? As the doctors ran tests and changed my medications, I felt a calmness wash over me. My body was still pretty weak and sore, but my spirit felt more alive than ever. I closed my eyes again, not to nap, but to reconnect with that deep feeling of oneness I had experienced. To my surprise and delight, I could feel a hint of that special connection again. It was like a door had opened, letting me tap into that source of love and wisdom even while I was wide awake. In that moment, I made a quiet promise to myself and to the universe. I promised that I would live the rest of my life based on this new understanding. I would use my art, my words, and my actions to share a piece of the light I had felt. I knew the path ahead wouldn't be easy. Going back to normal after such an eye-opening experience would be tough. But deep down, I felt with certainty that things would never be the same. I had been changed at my core, and with that change came a purpose and an inner strength I never knew I had. As I rested in the hospital bed, feeling life seeping back into me, I smiled. It was the kind of smile that comes from someone who has touched the infinite and has come back to share the story. It was a smile of someone who realized that every challenge, every ounce of pain or joy was part of a much bigger and meaningful journey. So with a heart full of gratitude and a mind opened by newfound understanding, I got ready for the next chapter of my life. A chapter that would not just be written with ink and paint, but with the light of the unconditional love I had experienced beyond the edge of death. In the days and weeks after my near-death experience, it felt like I was living in two worlds at once. On one side, there was the physical world with its everyday demands, recovering in the hospital, stressing about medical bills, and worrying about how I would explain all of this to my kids. On the other side, there was this new level of awareness that had opened up for me, a constant connection to something bigger that reminded me of the truth I had felt. At first, it was hard to mesh these two realities. There were times when I questioned if it had all been just a really vivid dream brought on by a lack of oxygen. But then I would close my eyes, take a deep breath, and feel that connection to something bigger than myself again. That strong feeling that we're all part of something so much greater and more beautiful than we can even think of. My physical recovery was quicker than the doctors had thought it would be, and I really believed it was because of the deep healing I had gone through. But the real journey to healing and change was just starting. As soon as I got out of the hospital, I felt this strong pull to get back to my art. But when I picked up my brushes for the first time after everything, I could tell something had really shifted. The colors looked brighter and more alive. Every brushstroke felt more meaningful. I started painting like crazy, trying to put on canvas a bit of the beauty and truth I had felt. My paintings, which had used to be dark and showed my struggles, now burst with light and color. Each piece of art became a way to meditate, to feel that connection to something divine again. At the same time, I felt a strong need to share my experience and what I had learned. I started meditating more often, wanting to keep that line of communication open. I also dove into different spiritual traditions and energy healing practices, finding with delight that a lot of them reflected the truths I had learned firsthand. My kids, who were a bit worried about my new behavior at first, soon saw a big change in me. There was a sense of peace and happiness in me that hadn't been there before. Our talks became deeper and more meaningful. I found ways to share the lessons I had picked up, not by lecturing them, but through my actions and stories that helped them see their own divine nature. As more people heard about my experience and my transformed art, I started getting invites to speak to small groups. At first, I was a bit anxious. Who was I to talk about such deep stuff? But then I remembered what Archangel Michael had said about my purpose, and I found the strength to tell my story. To my surprise and gratitude, my words seemed to resonate with people on a deep level. Many cried when they heard about the unconditional love I had felt. Others said they noticed a real change in their own energy just by being around my paintings. Slowly but surely, I started to get the hang of how I could carry out the mission that had been shown to me. My art became a way to express the deeper truths of the universe in a way that people could really feel and understand. My words became an invitation for others to discover their own true selves. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were days when the heaviness of everyday life felt like too much, days when I questioned myself and what I was experiencing. But during those tough times, I learned to close my eyes, take a deep breath, and reconnect with that endless source of love and wisdom. So bit by bit, brushstroke by brushstroke, chat by chat, I began to embrace my purpose. Not as any kind of guru or saint, but as an everyday person who had touched something amazing and wanted to share just a bit of that light with the world. My journey of change was just starting, but I welcomed it wholeheartedly, thankful for the chance to be a channel for the divine, helping others wake up to their true nature, one heart at a time. Looking back on my journey since that life-changing night in the hospital, I'm amazed by how deeply I've transformed. The near-death experience wasn't just a one-off event. It completely changed how I see the world and how I live my life. Now, months later, I still feel a strong sense of the unconditional love that flows through the entire universe. This understanding shapes how I perceive all my experiences, both the good and the tough ones. My art has kept evolving and is now more of a direct expression of that divine connection I felt. Each brushstroke and every color choice acts as a prayer, a form of meditation, a way to bring some of that higher light into the physical world. It's fulfilling to see how these pieces resonate with people in deep and unexpected ways, often sparking their own moments of insight and spiritual awakening. My talks and workshops have grown, reaching more and more people. I've realized that sharing my story and the truths I've learned is a crucial part of my journey. I don't view myself as a guru or a spiritual authority. Instead, I see myself as a messenger, someone who caught a glimpse of the divine and came back to share that experience. One of the biggest lessons I'm still figuring out is realizing that we all play a part in creating our own reality. I'm starting to see how my old beliefs and fears colored a lot of my negative experiences. With this new understanding, I've been working hard to change my thought patterns and emotions, and I'm seeing real changes in my everyday life. My relationship with my kids has flourished in ways I never thought possible. They've picked up on the shifts in me and are now starting to explore their own spiritual paths. Our conversations are filled with a deeper connection that truly makes me thankful. My health has also gotten a lot better. Even though I still deal with my autoimmune condition, my approach to taking care of my body has completely transformed. I now think of my body as a sacred space, a true reflection of who I am at my core. This shift in how I view things, paired with the energy healing techniques I've learned, has led to a noticeable drop in my symptoms. Of course, not every day is a walk in the park. I still run into challenges and moments of self-doubt. But nowadays, when I feel stressed or disconnected, I have strategies and practices that help me find my center again. Meditation has become a vital part of my daily routine, a way to link back to that endless source of love and wisdom. One of the most eye-opening realizations I keep diving into is that death, as we know it, is really just a change in state. This understanding has eased my fear of dying and replaced it with a deep appreciation for the miracle of life in all its forms. Looking back, I can see that every obstacle I've faced has set me up for this moment. My divorce, my money issues, my health problems, all of these experiences have given me the empathy and insight I need to truly connect with others and share my truth in a meaningful way. As I keep moving forward on this journey, I feel really thankful and honored to have gone through this transformation. I now know that each of us has the chance to tap into our true divine selves, to live from a place of unconditional love and universal connection. My mission now is to continue shining a light for others, using my art, my words, and my actions to help remind everyone of their own innate divinity. I realize the path ahead will also have its ups and downs, but I'm ready for it. Face them with an open heart and a strong belief in the love that is all around us. I'm wrapping up this story not as an ending, but as the start of something new. Every day gives us a chance to dig deeper into this broader understanding and to really live from this place of connection. For everyone listening, I hope my journey reminds you of your own unique light. No matter what you believe or what you've been through, remember that you are loved without conditions, that you are a one-of-a-kind expression of the divine, and that you have the power to change your life and make a real difference in the world. Always keep in mind, you are so much more than just your body, so much more than what you're going through right now. You are a being of endless light, filled with potential to create, to love, and to transform. May you wake up to this truth and live your life as the shining example of love that you truly are. If you liked this heartfelt story, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you catch every new video and help us share this message with as many people as possible. Catch you next time.